Hello, it's Dinus Mikkel here, and what I have in front of me is surprising, challenging. It's actually a little bit heartwarming as well. While redesigning curetonitis.org, go ahead and, I don't want to be the admin, so I don't need to be in the admin. It's going to come up here. While redesigning it, I asked something that I called an active empathy questionnaire, and I only had the first question ready. And answering the following questions can give insight into understanding, managing, and relieving tinnitus. And question 1 of 1, there are going to be more questions, is with regard to getting better from tinnitus, what's the biggest challenge or question or frustration you have? I don't need 2 ors now, do I? And that complimentary course should not show up for somebody who's logged in the way I am. And also we can get rid of the shopping cart. But anyway, with regard to getting better from tinnitus, what's the biggest challenge, question, or frustration you have? And I kind of didn't expect, these are responses, and the neat thing is, I'm supposed to grade them because it's formulated as a quiz. But I don't see any member or profile or sort of first name, last name information. But the way that the learning management system works, it makes it really challenging to click through the responses. So I just logged into the database, and this is going to be, this is chronological order, and just without really. There's a test, there's nothing, there's test, there's just these bunch of letters. And just kind of wanted to, let's bring it back. I just kind of wanted to read the things that just, came from the internet. So with regard to getting better from tinnitus, what's the biggest challenge, question, or frustration you have? Someone just typed in constant noise and clicked submit. I'm sad you're experiencing constant noise. Look at this one. Fearing every day that it will get worse and I will go insane. Yeah, I had that fear in the beginning. It's really unfortunate, and I don't know how to. Fearing every day that it will get worse and I will go insane. Look at that. Finding the truth. Who knew? Look at that. Finding the truth. Will I ever get over with this noise in my ears? Will I ever get over it? Will it ever go away? Anxiety. The stress actually caused by the tinnitus itself is a factor for the person who filled this information in. Different information and lots of scam stuff online makes it difficult to know what's best to try for. Yes, it sure does. And something that's really, really negative for me is that my face, and also Julian and Dinus together in the Cure Tinnitus show, our faces together have been used to sell other people's products, other people's ebooks, and then I literally I've gotten people angry at me, and they've posted comments on the site. They're like, "You sold me, you never gave me my refund." I'm like, I've been donation based for 5 years. Nobody's asked for a refund for a donation. Like, I don't even know what the person's talking about. But apparently there are people really angry at me because they think that it was my ebook that they bought, and it wasn't. I haven't even written any. For a while, we sold the curetonitis.org version of Julian Cowan Hill's ebook. We might sell that again in the future. We're actually currently not selling it. I haven't sold an ebook on this website for 7 years? 5? Gets in touch with me. They're angry that I didn't give them their refund. What refund? So I might have thousands of people angry at me because they were defrauded into thinking that I was selling them an ebook. But I didn't think that I was going to respond to all this. I actually, like a lot of the sort of scam stuff online, some of the ebooks, they're like $37, right? 19, 17, 20, 25. You could I'm pretty sure you could buy a good round of these sort of scammy ebooks for under $200. And you know what? It might, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you're really sort of digging and you want to leave no stone unturned, how they're not very expensive, so you might get some nugget of wisdom. I bought one of them, and in the end of it, I'm not going to reveal what the title of it was because I don't remember the title of it. But the solution was to drink raw coffee bean coffee, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! That's the cure!" Like, wow, that's really bad. That's really unfortunate. But the introduction was actually really well written, and so I was like, "All right, well, somebody paid $30 for this ebook." And yeah, I hope they get their refund because I think I requested the refund. But I'm just trying to deflate the anger associated with somebody maybe buying a $20 scammy ebook. Because really, if you're gonna head towards well-being and you're gonna truly start looking after yourself properly, you're probably gonna be at least several $100s per month, if not close to $1,000 a month for maybe the first year. So your budget probably needs to be about 10 grand, I would say. So if you accidentally find an ebook that happens to not give not meet your satisfaction, just return it. And then if they don't give you your refund back, that's bad. But at least you kind of satisfied the potential of finding some, sort of secret, hidden information or some clue that can help you along. I think I'm not sure what I'm really saying here, if I really agree with it 100%, even though it's coming out of my mouth. But I'm trying, it's different information, and lots of scam stuff online makes it difficult to know what's best to try for. Yes, it certainly does. Now, if it's going to be several $1,000s and it's going to, truly dip into your financial well-being, for example. Like for some people, several $1,000s doesn't dip into their financial well-being. They just go, they do a week worth of some type of therapy, maybe it's tinnitus retraining therapy or something else. They fly somewhere. That's sort of a part of what they're willing to do. So you kind of have to gauge for, what kinds of losses you're willing to accept. But I guess I'm trying to say that it's okay if you go to a craniosacral therapy session and maybe you just kind of don't gel with that therapist. then just, and maybe you lost $120 on that session. It can happen. You can pay maybe even more than that, or less. Who knows what your copay is, how your insurance works. But then you go to an ear, nose, throat specialist, and the person's just mean. He or she isn't somebody who's capable of helping you. An audiologist, you might find a really, really nice audiologist, and then that money will have been. Let's just guess that some type of audio test costs €200, $200, whatever, 200 somethings out of pocket. And one time you go to somebody who's really nice and they really help a lot. Another time you go to somebody who's just terrible and mean and makes you feel terrible. Well, you spent $400 for the good information. So I think that it might be worthwhile to consider accepting some losses. And your instincts most likely will be good. Most likely, let's hope that they are. But kind of getting through it where 100% of the money that you spend on books or therapies is going to be exactly the right solution and it's just going to help you entirely, that might not be the most realistic approach, right? So I guess my response to this active empathy questionnaire response is I understand that it's difficult to know what's best to try for, and I think that from where I am now, I wouldn't even I don't really have engaged it, but let's say that 30% of what I spent was wasted. Fine. That's okay, because it's a lot better. I think there might be people who, even if 90% of what they spend is wasted, if they wind up spending that 10%, they get just the right information, and they wind up either really being able to cope with or manage sort of like retraining therapy, or they have significant reduction in tinnitus. Doesn't matter. Let's say you spent $100,000 and $90,000 of it you wasted, but $10,000 of it was perfect, and you actually solved the issue. Well, then you solved the issue for $100,000, and $90,000 was part of the process. So maybe that helps. Look at this. I'm in a transformation process now, for the time being out of business, and I'm looking toward a tinnitus-free status in order to restart my work and get a better quality of life. Out of business, would like the tinnitus-free status in order to restart the work and get a better quality of life. That's tough. You might consider the type of work that you're doing, the quality of your work. You might have to work with tinnitus. I mean, something like 10% of the population has tinnitus, and then 10% of that, so 1%, have it in a debilitating amount. And I don't know, my lips are dry, and I don't know what I look like here, but anyway. And I'm just the organizer here, so I'm not the therapist. I just wanted to go through these, and I was just really touched by the number of responses, and we'll see. Maybe some of the people online, some of the therapists, some of the counselors, sort of the specialists that have kind of bubbled up in the last 5 or so years, because I basically haven't been involved with curetinnitus.org for about 5 years, and in the last 2 months I reworked the whole, everything just broke because the technology changed. it's a really short lifespan, because you used to be able to serve your own videos and they would play, and just stop playing. Wow. And so it's been about 5 years. But basically, so I'm not sure who else would respond to these questions, but maybe somebody else will wind up responding. You're looking toward a tinnitus-free status in order to restart work. You may need it. Please ask yourself if it's possible for you to work also with tinnitus. Okay, and I wish you the best in gaining a better quality of life. Transformation. The fear of never going to get rid of this symptom again, a bit of hopelessness mixed with acceptance. Yeah. You know, I personally, I'm not completely clear of tinnitus, and maybe in running curetinnitus.org, I should have taken care of myself. Like, I've spent a few $1,000s on getting curetinnitus.org going again. Why? What's wrong with me? I mean, I should have just gone some massages, some craniosacral therapy, and maybe that's a bad idea. But at least I'm at the point where I'm not afraid of never getting rid of the symptom, and there certainly is acceptance. But I go for extended periods of time without any awareness of tinnitus, or really having to put effort into being able to hear it. So right now I can try, but then again, there's also the part of if I do try, I can relax. That's making me want to relax. So yeah, there's hopelessness, there's acceptance, and doesn't sound that awful. Finding a cure for this debilitating condition. Yeah. That's what this website's all about. And it looks like it's a personal journey. One person's cure is doing this kind of Taoist, energetic exercise. And he said he got rid of his tinnitus disappeared when he finally mourned the loss of his mother. Finding a cure. You can't just tell everyone, mourn the loss of your mother, then your tinnitus will go away. Like, my mom's still alive. Or if they've lost their mother, like, what? Huh? So it's going to be a personal journey. It's going to be a personal solution, and that can really be a good guide. I think that I would find that information helpful. Setbacks, yes. Gil. The tinnitus is sometimes loud and sometimes quiet. No consistency. Yeah, but that's excellent, because that means that it is sometimes quiet, isn't it? Pretty awesome. Trying to hear, straining to hear, getting rid of the noise, make friends with the sound. And then sense of pressure in the ear. Sense of pressure in the ear can definitely mean structural alignment type things. Go to the chiropractor, go to the craniosacral therapist, go to an osteopath, get a good massage. Get everything checked out. If you want to check for a tumor, check for a tumor. Check the sinuses for stuff. Clear your sinuses. Do maybe the neti pot thing and clear that all out and see if maybe the pressure reduces. And then the whole straining to hear thing. Apparently, the more you relax and let the sounds come to you and learn how to process them, the better you're able to hear, even if your hearing starts going. But getting rid of the noise, goodness. How to accept tinnitus. On the one hand, you accept it. On another part, if you're at curetinnitus.org, you're kind of not accepting it, right? I certainly didn't accept it. I accept that it's there, and I accept that it was there, and I also accept that when I hear it, it's an alarm bell. So for me, that's how I started honoring tinnitus. I started being like, when I hear it, it means I gotta lay off or something. I've got to get a good night's sleep. How to accept the sleep. If I can win over that without taking sleep aids, I will be a happy person. Oh, happiness, depression, sleep. We did a whole bunch. We've done a whole bunch of discussions on sleep, so I'm not going to repeat those. Sleep and anxiety. There appears to be no cure, and it's a case. Ooh, it's long. Living with a condition, hoping that it does not get worse, and adjusting one's lifestyle for fear of it deteriorating, such as wearing ear protection for simple things like hoovering, vacuuming. Yeah, but I think that we have the capacity to get pretty tough. Like, there's a difference between and if that makes any sense at all. The problem with there appears to be no cure is that does actually seem to be untrue. Like people wind up taking care of themselves properly and going into either complete remission or winding up able to manage the condition. Complete disappearance. So, you've got, on the one hand, you have people that are driven to suicide, which is awful. And if you're at all in danger of that, please get the appropriate help, because it's kind of not worth letting tinnitus, sort of a symptom win, because there's so much you can do. There's so much you can do, and if you're having a spike, you could just take a walk. So with there appears to be no cure, like Kevin Hogan said in the one interview, he said there's no tinolytic. Yeah, well, big deal that there's no tinolytic. Doesn't mean that we can't get better, right? Who cares that there's no drug or one specific process? That's kind of, really wrong. It's sort of like if we're on one side of the ocean and we're just trying to get to the other side of the ocean, it's sort of like saying that the only way that you're going to cross is the only way to cross is to go via a straight line. That's sort of there's no cure. Well, sorry, you're going to go tack, you're going to go this way, you're going to that way, even if you're on a, motorized yacht or something, or cruise ship, you're just not gonna go completely and entirely straight. You're gonna, the route's gonna be a little bit different, and you can certainly cross. You can cross like this, you cross like this. There are going to be a lot of different paths, and it's going to be a personal path, and I think that's a really big help to be aware of it. I notice it recently and don't know how to treat. Well, we've got 5 guidelines here at the in the curetinnitus.org program. We've referred to those guidelines frequently in our Cure Tinnitus shows and our tinnitus support videos, and in our recently acquired tinnitus course, and in our entire tinnitus deliberation process. So, if you don't know how to treat, then take a look at our guidelines again, and just apply something positive that works for you within each guideline. And let's just say that for your physical guideline, you're choosing to get some physical therapy, right? So maybe go to an osteopath, or go to a massage therapist, or go to a cranial psychotherapist, or go to a chiropractor. So for that sort of physical side of it, and for the emotional side, let's say you're choosing to talk to your priest every week for a while, or so that's going to be that. Let's do the counselor, priest, therapist. So let's say that you've chosen a massage therapist and a psychotherapist, or you've chosen a craniopsychotherapist and a deacon or a pastor, right? Just if you don't know how to treat, pick one of the guidelines or all of them and apply something in each guideline, and find somebody that you work really well with, and yeah, a lot of those kinds of services are fee based. Pay the fees, and give a few things a try. Go to a craniopsychotherapist, a massage therapist, and an osteopath in the next 3 weeks. Give it a shot. Go to the office that you think smells best. Stress, yeah, it's big, huh? How do you cope with it? That's a good question. I didn't think that I was going to be answering these this much. But it's interesting that coping doesn't necessarily have to have a how to it. Let's say you right now are listening and you just have blaring tinnitus. It's so loud, it's hard for you to hear what I'm saying. I'm gonna say that probably it doesn't apply to a lot of you. Maybe some of you are able to concentrate on my voice enough that the tinnitus actually disappears, as do maybe the surrounding noises and just the sounds in your environment. How do you cope with it? I think coping is you're just coping. If you're listening, you're already coping. Time is moving forward and you're still around. I wrote a song called Creep On after Kurt Cobain either committed suicide or some kind of sketchy murder story, but I guess it was deemed as suicide. Yeah, probably this year 2018 I'll release that song, even though I wrote it in 93 or 94 or 94 I think. But how do you cope with it? Obviously there are going to be strategies to cope with it. My solution was, I'm not coping, I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to reduce it directly with these therapies. I'm going to talk to these doctors and therapists and counselors, and I'm going to do things that have a direct impact on the actual perceived volume. And also I chose to look at it as an alarm bell. So I changed a lot of things about my life, and it helped a lot. So so maybe that gives some insight. Worry about hearing test and size of aids for them, and what if it gets worse? Yeah, I don't know how deaf I'd have to get to put hearing aids in. I would think that they're probably really uncomfortable, but maybe for some people they're really, really comfortable and really, really useful. So work that out with your audiologist. If you don't like them, then I would say don't wear them. And currently there are a lot of options regarding size. The technology, and yes, the super small ones apparently are very expensive, but you know what? You only live once, right? So if you're going to need to get hearing aids and you think that hearing aids are going to be an appropriate way for you to have a more enjoyable audio sonic sort of experience in your life, how about getting some that really feel good? Give this a try, give that a try. See if you can find some that feel nice. Well, in regards to getting better which I feel it is at the moment, my biggest concern and most fundamental question is, will it ever go away? So you're getting better and you want to know, will it ever go away? I think that's a great question. I think it makes sense to continue to do whatever's helping you get better, right? And then you just sort of go, okay, am I going to take care of this last little bit? Because it's kind of where I'm at. So listen. Yeah, will the tinnitus ever go away? How long will it take? Someone really applied, I think it was himself, and wrote us a letter 3 years into tinnitus therapy and treatment, and I wrote a letter saying that tinnitus is gone. I'm 15 years in, not completely gone, but I kind of like having a warning bell. And what I mean by warning bell is that it's funny, I don't know. My wife, I'm not sure if I'm really, well, there's a laundry machine going, but how long will it take? Anywhere from a few minutes to decades. But if you're concentrating on feeling better, independently of whether you have tinnitus or not, then even if it does take decades, you'll be feeling better and better and better as you go. This last one is why I even made this video. I saw this response and I wanted to check to see what other responses I've gotten. I've been to many doctors who smirk when I ask for help. None of them listen, and one made me wish I could inflict him with it. Oh, would you look at that? No one even considers that there might be anything to help, and yes, I've been borderline suicidal from time to time. I get that 100%, I understand. Okay? Being belittled with doctors smirking at you, that's absolutely unprofessional, unacceptable behavior. It's unacceptable medical behavior, completely. And if you get that a lot, that's terrible. That's really unfortunate. None of them listen. Well, I would just then, in my search for doctors, send an email to the office and say, I'd like to really be listened to. And if that's not something that you're going to do, I don't want to come to your office. There are also people that, they're basically professional listeners. They're therapists, and that can be really helpful. I'm so sorry that you had such a negative experience with one doctor that it made you wish that you could inflict the man with tinnitus. Must have been really demeaning. Must have been, sort of really, really unpleasant. There's a word coming to my mind that I'm not going to use because it's not a nice word, but that sounds really, really negative. I'm sorry you're kind of hitting the end of my ability, my time here. And we're on the last questionnaire response. And it was filled in on the 19th of January, 2018. No one even considers that there might be anything to help. That may be one of these sort of tinnitus-y exaggerations where you say no one. Is it really true no one? Because you've got a bunch of people online, including me and Kevin Hogan and Julian Cowan-Hill and Jennifer Bettaglino and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Was it Paul Toby? Is that the last name? It was tinnitus free living. Hoping I'm remembering that. So it's not true that no one even considers there might be anything to help, is it? Not really true. And yes, I've been borderline suicidal from time to time. That is one of the symptoms and one of the potential results that people who are afflicted with tinnitus, and then you have the subset of people who are afflicted with tinnitus for whom it's debilitating. It is one of the potential dangers. And I think it's pretty special to overcome that. So if you're leaning at all towards causing yourself or others harm, reach out. We've got a page for suicide prevention. There are a bunch of hotlines. If you're really in danger, then just go to the hospital and check yourself in. People say that if it gets really acute and then you get the right attention and help, you can go on and live. Most of the basically people they live a perfectly normal life. There's just this hump that needs to be gotten over, and it's not it's not worthless to or doesn't lack value to live with pain and to live with hindrance, to live with handicap, to live with something holding you back. Some of the most motivating and empowering people have suffered tremendously. People with no arms, no legs, giving lectures about how to be happy in life, how to accept yourself as you are. So having something that challenges you isn't necessarily bad. It certainly doesn't make you a worse person. It doesn't make you less. It doesn't reduce your capacity for empathy towards others. With the online community, people with tinnitus, sometimes they're in a rage and they're just raging online. It's really horrible to be targeted by such people. But I think that for the most part, this kind of suffering, this has been a long video, so it kind of makes you a stronger, better, more caring, more empathetic person. It makes you more caring. And it's not a bad thing. It's not bad to have this condition and to have this hindrance, especially because there's so much you can do. And if you look at it as an alarm bell, you just have to ask, why is the alarm going off? And if you address the underlying causes of why is it a misalignment of your spine maybe here? Is it diet? Is it trauma? Is it unprocessed trauma from your childhood, like abuse trauma? A lot of tinnitus people have been abused, I had somebody call me once, and I'm not even a therapist, and I was like, who was it? Is it your uncle? Like I don't know why. It was just like, I don't want to waste any time. The person found my phone number somehow, because I'm not available for that type of counseling, because I'm not a counselor. I might sometime. I don't know. But I remember, the person called, and it was kind of desperate, and I was just like, forget it, And also, it's like money. I'm not charging anybody money. Right now, we've got not for that. Not for people who dig up not for people who dig up my phone number, and all of a sudden I'm like talking to them. How on earth did they get my phone number, right? So those are people that I've just helped as much as I can, without any kind of certification or training to do so. Just quite a bit of experience in running this website and contact with people that have tinnitus or have had tinnitus or gotten better to varying degrees. And we might have some people who didn't have any success at all. That we might have that. They kind of don't write in, but I'm just sort of saying that even though I'm not all the way out on the other side, and maybe I kind of am, but I'm not all the way on the other side. We come out better on the other side. We come out better on the other side. So if this is something that's an alarm bell going off, and the sort of ending your own life is a potential, if you know that you come out better on the other side, is it worth ending your own life? And the key for me, I'm remembering now, was what if my soul has tinnitus? And what if I do commit suicide and I'm a soul and I hear this ringing? Like, what kind of, I have to go to like a soul doctor? Like, do they have doctors in the spirit realm? I don't know. You know, am I going to die and not be around and not be conscious? Maybe, but I don't know. Like, and the last thing I want to do is move into eternal life with the kind of tinnitus that I had. That would be really awful. Like, imagine, like, you're looking for relief and you commit the suicide and you're like, and it's like, or whatever your tonight, or chirp. You're like, no! Like, you try, like, put it back. I still have it. Sorry, that's a terrible thing to say, but you could still have it after death, right? Theoretically. That would be so bad. That would be like, that's like, that could be like, if they have YouTube in the spirit realm, it would be like a spirit fail. It would be like, fail. Look, he committed. People are like, spirits are watching their little tablets. There's a fail. Try to get rid of your tinnitus by committing suicide. Duh. It's like a bad robbers, like the bad thieves videos where they're like really dumb. Leave their wallets in the places where they, stole something, to leave their IDs. Anyway, I've enjoyed spending this time making this video, and I'm really glad that I didn't let sort of the curetonitis.org project die. So it's back online. Everything's working for the most part that I know of. Get on the site, make some comments. We only have one ad running right now. Maybe buy whatever the ad was. So I can have some revenue. We had a really nice donation recently. I don't know if the person is willing to have like a donor board. So that was really nice, and all I want to say blessings, but I hope that maybe some of you are religious in that way. But I just really want to wish everyone who's gotten to the end of this video in particular, I want to wish you the very best in getting better from tinnitus and improving your condition and coping, managing, coping, staying alive, and reducing and doing the things that help you get better. So check out our curetonitis.org program guidelines, and all the best to you and yours. Take care. Bye-bye.